guys, back with another fresh vinyl review. And, as you can see, no surprise, what we're doing here, we're doing the X Plus 25 centimeter King Ghidorah. Okay, this is a 25 centimeter scale in the Toho Large Monster Series. King Ghidorah was released December 25th in Japan, 2014. Okay, so figure's brand new at the time of this recording. We're going to do this review a little bit differently. I'm not going to poke myself in the eye because I got a wing tip right here with a nice little sharp horn there. So we're not going to poke myself in the eye, right? Alright, anyway. So, before we get into reviewing the actual figure, we have to go over this list. Yes, I actually had to make notes on the issues with this figure that were brought upon collectors upon release of this. And, you know, I think it's important that they need to be discussed. The information needs to be put out there. So, we're going to start with the list. Then, we'll go into a review of the figure without focusing too much on what I got on this list, because this is my dirt sheet, okay? There's a lot of things that we need to talk about. So, the first thing we'll talk about is the box. This is the box that King Ghidorah came in, okay? It is not your typical 25 centimeter box. It's more in line with the Mothra box, the Rodans, and Kumonga. White box with a black image of the figure. You got your Toho Large Monster Series, King Ghidorah, 1968. Okay, and then this is the Rick Boy. So I have my Rick Boy sticker down there, Godzilla licensing sticker down there, and King Ghidorah on the box. All right, the back. It's nothing special about the back. If you have the figure, you got the box. You know what the back looks like. Legal jargon. Blah blah blah. Okay, so let's talk about the box from AmiAmi.com. If you don't know what AmiAmi is, it's AMIAMI. AmiAmi. If that's how I pronounce it, some people may pronounce it differently, whatever. But AmiAmi got their cases of X Plus King Ghidorahs. There was 2 King Ghidorahs to a case. So what does that mean? That means a box, we'll call it a case, contained 2 King Ghidorahs in the box. So I actually don't know anybody that actually got a box with theirs from AmiAmi. So what did AmiAmi do with the shipping? What did they do? Here's what they did. Instead of putting this in a box, they just slapped the shipping information, the customs forms and all that stuff that needs to get filled out for international orders. They just slapped it on the box right here. They just put it right there and sent your King Ghidorahs in the mail to go out just like this. That's how they shipped them. So, really, like, that is... Alright, some people don't collect boxes. Some people do. For those that don't collect the boxes, no loss, right? It's fine. For those that do collect the boxes, that's ridiculous. You know, now your box is ruined. Okay, look, it's not entirely about the box, it's about the figure, yes, but I'm a box guy. I keep the original packaging. You know, so maybe you'll agree with me. My philosophy is, for now, the box is just as much as part of the figure as the figure itself. Okay? So, AmiAmi shipped it just like this. That's totally unacceptable. When, in your right mind, you think it's okay to just ship this out just like that, any figure. I mean, it's like, just think about anything else you've bought. It's just, oh, they're just going to slap shipping information on it and just send it like that? It's ridiculous. So what happened? Boxes make it to the United States. So now you got the post office. They're writing on them. Oh, notice left, such and such, the time, numbers, all this other information. That's not cool. Not cool at all. There's more stickers getting put on it when your boxes are going through U.S. customs. So the box is getting ruined. Some people said that, you know, oh, they were able to use a heat gun, hair dryer, to get the shipping labels off. So that's some saving grace, but it's just totally unacceptable for this to be shipped just like this, coming from Japan to the United States. Okay? That's ridiculous. Go look at a globe of the Earth and run your finger from Japan all the way to the United States. This is how that's shipped, just like that. Ridiculous. Alright, so we all know about the box. So that's the box. That's how it's shipped. Okay? What else? Let's start. So the packaging inside the box. I'm not going to take it out. It's plastic. The plastic housing that most of all X Plus figures come in. So, probably not the smartest thing to do with plastic housing with such a fragile figure like this. They should have used styrofoam like the Gigantic series. I think that would have been a safer bet. Because now here's the question I would ask X Plus. Did you guys do a quality check when you guys prior to shipping this? Like, did we drop it and, you know, bang it around? Let's see how this is gonna hold up. You know, did we do any of that and then take the figure back out and see how it held up? Because it doesn't seem like they did. The packaging for this type of figure, not suitable at all. Just the flimsy plastic housing, not good. You know, we'll talk about why it wasn't good momentarily. Let me look at my notes. Wait a second. Packaging, plastic housing. We talked about styrofoam, right? Alright, so this is what we're moving on to. Why? What's the concern with that? Why? Because if you watched my unboxing video, you saw that as soon as I pulled it out of the box, the first thing I noticed, as I'm really looking at it, is like I see this wiggle in the middle head. And I'm like, did I just see that? And then I kept talking for a few more seconds, and then it finally sank in, yeah, the head is not attached. And I'm like, oh. So the first thing that went through my mind is, okay, I'm filming an unboxing video. We just play it cool, you know. And then I finished the video, and like the thoughts going through my head, I said this to a couple collectors, is all right, how bad is it broken, and how am I going to fix it? Okay, so that's the first thing that went through my head. But you know what? When I opened mine, I didn't hear of anybody else having the same situation that I had yet at that time. So after I opened mine, a few hours go by, you know, the next day goes by. Now more people are having heads pop off. Mine was severed right at the neckline where it meets the body. Some people had the seams break up here, mid-level of the neck. This head, some people having problems with this head. Okay? Heads were popping off, necks were popping off, just out of the box. I mean, that's not good. Horns were broken. Oh, horns. 2 people I know, they had horns busted right out of the box. Luckily, the pieces were inside the plastic housing. They were able to fix it. Good. Okay. What else? All right. So the fix. How did we fix it? How did I fix mine? Crazy glue. K-R-A-Z-Y glue. Crazy glue. It's crazy. Okay. So I glued mine on. I had it back on in like 10 seconds. Okay. Not a big deal. Take a look at this picture. We'll talk about this cable real quick. See the cable? All right. So the cable is inside the necks. So when my head fell off, I thought, oh no, the cable, the wire, the rod, whatever you want to call it, I thought it was supposed to be in part of the body, just a little bit at the base, and then mostly in the neck, because there's a hole here, as you can see, you know, going into the body and inside the neck. So I thought it got pushed in somehow, maybe when they were putting it through, assembled it. So basically, it's supposed to be inside the neck fully. So I took it out for no reason. You know, like I said, at the time that I had my problem, my situation, I didn't hear anybody else's having the same problem, so I thought maybe I needed to fix the rod. So, but the rod, let's talk about the rod. The rod is supposed to be going through the neck, and there's one in each head here. All 3 heads have this rod. And what is the rod for? The rod is there to maintain support for the necks so they don't slouch over time. Gravity does its job. It pulls things down, right? So the rods are in there to maintain the integrity of the heads and the necks staying up. So there's no sagging, no slouching. You know, if the vinyl starts drooping. So that's why the rods are there. So that's very good. Good planning on X Plus's part. But I thought the rod was messed up on mine, but so the rods stay all the way in the neck. Okay. All right. What else we got? So, all right. So this is a little bit minuscule stuff. Let's talk about the wings. The wings. Woo, boy. All right. So I'm going to show you something. All right. Obviously, the wings don't come attached. Out of the box, both wings are detached, and you have to put them on yourself. So how do you get them on? You want to just, I'm going to pull this one off because it comes off easy. Okay? The wing comes like this in the package. I'm going to leave the other one on. I only need one to show you. Okay? So that's how it comes out of the package. And then over here, we'll just look at the picture. Okay, you see the holes there? The holes there is what this, the wing locks onto. They have these, whatever you want to call them. I can't think right now. Sometimes when I'm filming, I just have mind blank. But the pegs, you just want to take the pegs and you're going to put them in the hole. So my advice to you, if you don't have the figure yet and you're getting it soon, if you bought it or you're afraid to put the wings on, or in the future, if you want to find an easy way to put the wings on, grab the figure. For instance, we're doing the left wing here. Grab the figure in your left hand. Take the wing in your right hand. Hold it like this. See how I'm holding it? Thumb underneath. Fingers over there. And marry them right the peg right in. Okay? Now, some people will think, oh, it's not in all the way. Oh, is it going to fall out? So, you want to make sure it's snug. So, just grab it again. Make sure it's snug. So, how do we know it's all the way in? How do we know it's not going to fall out? Well, what you can do is just grab it like that, hold it upside down. Now, just hold it there. If it doesn't come out, you're good. Do I recommend doing this? No. But why did I do it? Just to show you is that once you get them in, nice and snug, once you think that's the best I can do, they're probably in. So maybe don't do that. Just watch. You see what I did? I got them in. You saw how easy I put them in. They're in snug. Okay. So, and I tell you why I'm comfortable doing that, or why I'm confident that the wings are not going to come out. I held it upside down. They didn't come out. Why would we ever hold it upside down? We're not. We're not crazy. I'm crazy. I did it. I'm crazy. That's why I can do it. Okay. So they didn't come out. Gravity. The wings are relatively very light. ABS plastic. They're not going to slouch. If you have a 25 centimeter Mothra, whether you had the original release from a couple years ago or the newest Rick Boy release, the wings are made out of ABS plastic. These babies are not going to slouch. Go to an X Plus for that, okay? So, the wings are good. I mean, they're not, it's kind of hard to get like the best of, to get these seams buttered up, but I'm not really going to stress over it. This is a complicated figure. There's a lot of delicate pieces on here. Putting them on the first time. You guys remember the first time you put them on? It's like, oh my god, like this is like it's scary because you got this big piece of plastic here. Am I squeezing it too hard? Is it in all the way? If I didn't squeeze hard enough to push it in, maybe it fall out. If it falls out, it's going to crack and break. It's delicate, so we want to be delicate with it. Okay, so I'm confident that I put mine up on the shelf later. The wings are okay. I'm not worried about it. I've heard over the past few days collectors saying that the left wing doesn't feel snug. So mine came off relatively easy, but I flipped it upside down, no issues. Okay? So those are the wings. So we got ABS in the wings. The scales here, that's made out of vinyl. That's soft vinyl there. So plastic ABS, vinyl scales that match up and marry it to the body. Okay? Alright. What else? So we got we'll talk about the paint stuff when we go into the review. I'm just trying to go over just the concerns. I know I'm dragging this. I want to get into the review, but it's important stuff. So we talked about the shipping, the box, plastic, styrofoam, broken wings, ABS, delicate insertion. Price. Alright, so let's talk about the price. I'm not going to give you the exact number. I mean, those of us that have this, we know how much we paid for it. I got the Rick Boy, so I paid a little bit more for the Rick Boy than what the standard would cost. Okay? Get out of the way. See, the wings are so big. We'll just put them between there. How's that work? I'll just move over here. Is that okay? I totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Hold on. Wings. Delicate price. Price! Alright, we're talking about price. Now, what I will say about the price, with all these issues, yes, we threw down $300-400, whatever it was at the end of the day, based off of where we got it from and the shipping, whatever. Well, that's another thing about the shipping. Let's go back to Ami Ami real quick. That's why Ami Ami shipping was cheaper. You know why? Because they didn't spend the money to put your King Ghidorah in a box. Wow. I was happy. I got mine with my Johnson. Mine came in a box. My shipping was a little bit more. No big deal. Only by a couple bucks. It's worth it. I would have, if Ami Ami gave me the option, hey, do you want us to ship your King Ghidorah just as is in the box, or you want us to put it in a shipping box? But it'll cost them. Like, put it in a shipping box. It's worth the money from where it's coming from. Sorry, getting a little mad there. All right, so, but for the price we paid, should we be dealing with these problems? Should we? No, we shouldn't. X Plus has been working on this guy, and I'm going to defend X Plus for a second here. I love X Plus, but they were working on this for over a year. Okay, this is not the easiest of kaiju to create, to duplicate in A, this scale, and B, such detail and accuracy. So to get the wings right, they must have tried vinyl and realized, well, that's not going to work. They're not going to hold up. Too thin of vinyl, they're going to droop. The detail and everything, I mean, it's a big figure. This is a big figure. So, and there was no delay. Surprisingly, I thought there was going to be a delay on this. So for the price point, should we be dealing with broken heads, broken horns? The boxes, I can't hold X Plus accountable. Ami Ami jacked that up. So, we should not be dealing with these issues for a $300+ figure. But you know what? It happens. It happens. So, what do I say? If you love the figure, we're all excited for it for 2014. This was if you ask me, I think this was the next biggest release anticipated by collectors. Whether you're an X Plus collector or just a big collector in general, and you love King Ghidorah, the X Plus Gigantic Series Burning Godzilla was like #1 release, I think, for 2014. This was right on its tails. Some people might say, "Oh, this was bigger." What? It's just an opinion, my opinion. But stuff happens. I saw mine was broken. Okay, I'm gonna get it fixed. I'm gonna fix it. I fixed it. I did it to the best of my ability. We'll talk about it in my full review later in a minute. But I can't get this seam to butter up. Maybe it's just my ability or knowledge or whatever. But you know what? I'm not gonna mess with it. It's on. It's not like I'm gonna put them on the shelf backwards. And I'm gonna have them on backwards, and we're gonna look at them like this from this view. No, I'm gonna be looking from the front. Okay. So, but anybody, like, if you had a serious problem, yeah, then I would say take it up with X Plus. But 99% of the problems are fixable. There was one gentleman on the X Plus group who had a legit serious issue. I think it was this head was missing the bottom jaw. A. Now, how do we know it's A? Hey, I don't know. If you're missing a jaw, look inside the mouth. What does it say? There's letters, A, B, and C. Either way, he was missing a jaw. So he contacted me and says, hey, I'm going to do this, and send an email. I read it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Send the email, tell him the concerns, show him the pictures. This is how it came. Hopefully they'll get back in touch with him, send him the jaw, and I would believe he's confident enough to put the jaw on. It's going to be a task, but, hopefully they help him out. I hope by whatever foreseeable time people watching this, I hope he got help and it's fixed. Okay? Alright. So, I think I covered the list. I know it's am I beating this up? No. It's just the things that needed to get addressed that I felt needed to be talked about. So, discuss in the comments. But, without further ado, I will say this figure it's definitely fresh. All put together, wings on, heads on, horns, all this good stuff. It's fresh. I mean, all these mishaps, yeah, that's on fresh. It makes me want to go jump in the shower. I just feel so on fresh. It's so on fresh, right, Christine?
That is so not fresh. I don't get your Japanies in a bunch. Bam!
But yeah, it's definitely fresh in my book. I'll give you my score at the end for this. But without further ado, let's get into the review. Bam! Alright, guys. So let's talk about the good stuff. Because there is a lot of good stuff. So because the figure is big and I'm behind the camera right now, you're just going to have to follow me, as we discuss the merits of this beautiful figure. Okay? Alright, so because it's big, like I said, let's start at the top and we'll work our way down. So we'll talk about the wings first, okay? So check out the wings. The wings go pretty high, right? So how high do the wings really go? Because if you're thinking about where am I going to fit this, let's get our friendly little tape measure out here. And what you can, let's find out how high it goes. So at the top of the wing, wow, it's actually taller than I thought it would be. 20 inches. 20 inches at this wing. We're just going to roll with that. Because I think this wing is a little bit, you can see that. You can just barely see that. 20 inches. 20 inches tall. Give or take. Yeah, it's 20 inches. Wow. That is tall. I thought it was 18. Alright, so 18 inches tall at the top of the right wing tip. That's big. Woo! That's big. Whew. So you're going to need at least 20 inches. Yes, I thought it was 18 based off the Rick Boy site when the figure was released, but we got 20 inches right here. So you're going to need at least a shelf space, a clearance of, I think to be safe, 22 inches. So we're going to be looking at a top shelf, figure here, and that's where I know mine's going. But 20 inches. So yeah, so let's take a look at the wings. We're going to scoot down just a little bit. We appreciate a little bit more of the wings. We'll stop right there. Gold wings. They look really, really beautiful. They do look good. We'll talk about detail in the wings. So I love the ripples here, the grooves, as if how the wings actually looked on the suit. Because remember, these are big old flappy wings. So you got all these grooves in here. Those look good. You got the spines going right through the wings to each and every little horn on the tip. And remember, this is ABS plastic, so it's hard. And these are sharp. These, they're not sharp, but they could poke an eye out, so you got to be careful. But those look very nicely done. The ribbing all up and down the center here, through each spine, ribbing, we'll call it the ribbing, whatever. So those look good. And this is nice, because this is closer to the body, so that goes all the way up. That looks really nice. Nice and gold. Subtle highlights of darker gold as we get closer to, the body. Of course, the scales here, like I said, this is ABS. This is vinyl. This is actually vinyl here. So you got a combination of ABS plastic and soft vinyl there. Alright, so that is that wing. Let's flip him. Not flip him. Let's move him this side and we'll look at the other wing. Look at that. It looks really good. It really does look good. Let's look at the back. Look at those. Woo! Those look beautiful, don't they? They really do. They did a great job. I'll tell you what I really like the most. If I just scoop down just a little bit here, is the shading. It's very subtle with the darks. The dark brown, not dark browns, the light browns, just sprayed on. It looks really, really good. And as I always say, what do I always say? What does this give the figure? Depth. And depth is important because you don't want flat colors on your figures. If you have a flat paint job, then it just looks bland and boring, and we don't want that. Bland and boring. I mean, for this line, yes, you're gonna get a good paint job. You're gonna get a lot of depth, and it looks really, really good. I mean, look at that. That just looks beautiful. Oh, and this stands out really nice over here. This dimple in the wing, but this shading is really done, really, really well. Great job with the wings. I will give them that. Great job with the wings. Alright, so here, let's go back to the back. Alright, well, let's do a profile. We'll do a little profile here. Alright, so King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah. However you want to pronounce it. I like saying King Ghidorah. He's gold. He is the gold-headed, three-headed demon. Okay? So we got all gold scales and everything. It looks beautiful. And look at these scales. Can I zoom in for a second here It might be a little shaky. I'm not used to doing it like this. But let's zoom in on this. Look at these scales. They just are so well sculpted throughout the whole figure, from the necks, you know, all the way down to the legs. Looks really, really good. I mean, this is very suit accurate as far as the scales go. I mean, look at that. Look right there on the chest. I mean, that looks, you know, they're sculpted at different lengths. As you can see, you know, everything looks, it just flows so naturally. It was really, really good. All right, so we'll zoom in on. I don't like really zooming in because you lose clarity. So let's see if you can focus. Yak here. No, we're gonna zoom back out. Look at that. It's just beautiful. It's really, really good. The heads are sculpted beautifully. They really are. A lot of beautiful details in the heads. I mean, look at them. They just, I mean, this is Showa, baby. Showa. Each little head, you got your little horns here. It's going to be hard to see, but I'm going to show you pictures. Look at the pictures. Okay, so now we can see a little bit better. Here, on the sides of the mouth, on the nostrils, on top of the head, underneath the chin, everything is just beautiful looking. Looks really, really good. And all three heads, I'll tell you another thing I like about all three heads, is that they are all doing something different. This one has got his mouth open and roaring. This one, he's staring at something, obviously. You know, his mouth is closed. This one, his head's arched up, but he's looking down, maybe looking at an Ghidorah coming in for an attack. You know, maybe, oh, this would have been cool. Maybe he was shooting his gravity beam or something. So each head is doing something different, and that is how they should be. We wouldn't want three heads doing the same thing. That's not right. Okay, so that looks good. Again, look at the scales. Look at the scales. They look really, really good. I love the scales. I think the scales are really a standout feature here, especially the way they were sculpted. Looks really good. All right, so detail. All right, here's another feature. Let's come down a little bit, and we're going to look right here. And, of course, we're going to zoom in. Look at this feature right here, right on the upper thigh. I love this. I love these little features because this is the actual wrinkle of the suit that looks really good. I love these little features. So what X Plus is doing is they're recapturing what the suit looked like, not as if it was the actual monster. You know, so this is what the suit looked like with these wrinkles. And we're going to zoom back out, and I'm going to show you something else, what I think looks really cool. I know this is another reason why I love how X Plus pays attention to detail. And what we always say, detail, detail, detail. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this back real quick here. And I want you to see this seam going right down the middle of the back. Let me come down a little bit. Okay, right here. See this seam here? Starts up here, goes all the way down. That is a seam, a zipper line, where the suit actor got in and out of the suit. Okay, so I love how that's been recaptured. Mind you, there is a seam here also going across. Well, that's just how the figure was built, okay? That's just how it was built. Now, while we're talking about seams, and I got the camera panned on this section, we can see here, you know, where the ABS marries up with the plastic. It's not perfect, but, you know, hey, look, it's okay. But over here where you put the wings on, now that's the best I can do. I'm not going to try to overforce it because what happens, plastic, you might end up snapping and breaking it. Okay, but obviously I got a little bit of a gap there. Okay, I got a little bit of a gap here. Not too bad. Yeah, it's ugly. I mean, is it the worst thing in the world? No, it's not. Okay, what toy is perfect? I dare you to find me a perfect toy. You know, maybe there is. I don't know. I can't think of a perfect toy right now. Actually, probably the 30cm Godzilla 64 would have closed my light up. That's pretty damn perfect. Well, that's just my opinion. Okay. All right, so we'll talk about a couple more seams here. Look at this over here. Where the wing, okay? It's kind of ugly. But again, if we're looking at this straight on, really can't tell. All right? Same thing on the other side. It's not that bad. Looking good, looking good. Now, mind you, I know we're zoomed in. Let me pull up a little bit. Remember, my head was broken when I got it out of the box. But I did a decent glue job here. You really can't tell where it was broken. I could tell. I'm not going to point it out because I don't want everybody to know, oh, that's where it was broken at. I don't need that. But I will point out on the back of the the head here, you can tell there's a little bit of a seam up here. I've seen John Stanowski from Kaiju Addicts. His is nice and buttered up really nice. Unfortunately, my head was broken out of the box, and I had to reglue it, so it's not the best of seams. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You know, it is what it is. Alright, let's look at another seam. Let's go a little bit down, a little bit more. We're going to look at the legs. There's a seam right here. Another problem collectors were having is that the legs were coming off. I think here. So this is a seam right here along the kneecap. Not a big deal. You know, I mean, the scales really hide this pretty well. On the other, same thing on the other side. You got another seam right over here. But again, it's well hidden. I don't really think I noticed it too much until I started really giving the figure a good once over before this review. But it looks really well. Seams are good. The detail is stunning. Let's get a good look on it. Let's look at this head. I'll tell you why. I think a lot of collectors are digging this head right here. Okay? Sorry I'm moving around. But this is a little bit hard to do because he's such a big figure. This head, I think, is the best looking one. I mean, look at that face. Oh, look at those eyes. I love how the eyes are red and black. Okay? I love all these fangs. Everything looks good. Some people, the teeth were painted the same as the gums. That's no good either. So I know a couple guys that had to fix that. Made it look really good. Bam. Okay? Horns look good. Everything about from here looks good. Now, let's look at the manes here. There's been a lot of discussion about the manes. And I'll be honest, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm not that picky about the manes, but they're not accurate. You know, so how could I love suit accurate but not be picky about this, right? But I'm just telling you, I mean, yeah, these should be lighter, okay? They should be lighter, but they're dark. And they accent, you know what I mean? It's not the worst thing in the world. You know, they help accent all the gold and everything. But I know a few collectors already. They've already highlighted and lightened these up and made them flow a little bit better. You know, from the head and the neck. So, you know, that's an option if you're a skilled painter and you want to go for it. You know, lighten them up, go for it. You know, just paint it to your taste, and that's okay. You know, I like I said, I gotta watch the movie again. At the time of this recording, I watched Destroy All Monsters a couple weeks ago, actually, like twice in a row. But I forget what the mains look like, so I'd have to go do some research and just get a refresh for me. But, you know, I think they look okay. I think they look okay. I don't think it's the worst thing. Man. But he is beautiful. Sculpt is beautiful. Detail's beautiful. All the little teeth and fangs. Everything is individually sculpted here. Whew. It's really good. I love these. I love the scales. I don't know what it is. It's just the scales, they look alive to me. It's like they captured the suit so well. Like if King Ghidorah just jumped down, you know, when he landed in Mount Fuji, and he just, like, landed, it's like maybe it's just because the way the suit was moving, but these look really awesome. I really love how they're not just pressed against the figure, you know, flat. These have some serious depth to them and look really, really well. So, overall, the figure really is beautiful. What have we not looked at? Let's look at the feet real quick. Let's go look at these feet. Now, the feet, I think they're in motion. I mean, if you look here, I know we're looking low, but if you look here, you know, the feet are not even flat on the ground either, you know, so those are kind of look like, you know, they're in motion. This foot is not completely flat on the ground. That's okay. You can't really tell from the video here, but, you know, it's curled a little bit. It looks like he's almost rolling his foot, but it's not bad, obviously. If it doesn't look that bad on the video, then it's not bad. I'm not being picky about it. We didn't talk about the tail. Let's talk about the tail. The tail, a lot of life to it. So we got one tail going up higher over here, and we got this one. This dips a little bit low, and this curls up at the tip. I do think, I don't know, you know what? I thought maybe these would be a little bit bigger, you know, extended outwards. But, you know, again, I got to watch the movie. But those look fine. I think they look good. I don't think maybe if they look a little bit bigger, they look a little hokey, but those look good. I really like the tail, the way it's positioned. You know, again, it looks like it's alive. And, of course, the detail here on the tail with the scales looks really good. Now, is there any seams here? Very hard to tell. It looks like there could be seams, but I think maybe right here Maybe. I can't tell. This is all nice on piece. I tell you what's really nice about the figure, aside from all the other hiccups that it's had, you don't have to get squishy soft with it to put a tail on. It comes with the tail. Of all the figures, it has these 2 tails, not to mention, and they're long. You don't have to put them on. So that is kind of a bonus. Not that it would be that hard for us to do, I'm sure. Just get it squishy soft, and you get it on. No problem. Not a big deal, but tails come connected in the box. Okay? Talked about that. Detail looks great. Like I said, how many times I gotta say it, right? Everything looks good though. Really, really nice. Again, I like all the little spikes here up on each and every neck. That looks good. But it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. So, I can't, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, forget if you've put all the problems upon release aside, we have a beautiful figure, and it definitely, to me, yeah, it's still worth the money, absolutely. For a figure of this capacity, this detail, yeah, it's a definite buy. So if you ask me, oh, would you get one if I didn't have one? Absolutely, no question about it. But you know what? Let's take this back to the table. I think we gotta. Oh wait, you know what we gotta do? I'll tell you what. We'll do size comparison back over in the corner, in where I normally sit. It'll be easy for you guys to see. All right, so take it back to the table. Bam! Alright, so we're going to do size comparison first, then we're going to talk about the Rick Boy, because I figured I didn't do it over there, we'll do it over here. Not a big deal, but here's your size comparison. So what we have here is a 25 centimeter Godzilla 68, and obviously, I have the Rick Boy, so with the 25 centimeter scale, Minya, okay? So, this is how big they fit and scale together, okay, as far as comparing. For those that don't have the King Ghidorah yet, and you have a 25 centimeter Godzilla, just to bear in mind, this is how they fit and scale. Yeah, it's like King Ghidorah's towering over Godzilla. He's supposed to. He's much bigger with the wings and everything. But if you think about back into the Destroy Monsters, Godzilla ran up on top of, ran up on King Ghidorah, and he's smacking him on the, in between the necks. So that puts Godzilla pretty much, face level with where the necks meet the body. So that is right in scale. So if we just turn it like that, and if he was to come in just like that, yeah, that is in scale. This is the first time I'm looking at them together, and I tell you what, it looks good. Definitely. Thumbs up for that. So that's your size comparison. Minya, obviously, he's a bit shorter, so he definitely fits right in. Yeah, everything scales up nice, okay? Well, that looks good. Scaling is good. Definitely, if you're going to have a Destroy All Monsters lineup, everything should look great together. Of all the 25 centimeter figures that have come out in the Destroy All Monsters lineup. Okay? Now, mind you, real quick about that, not every kaiju has been released in a 25 centimeter scale for you to make a complete Destroy All Monsters lineup. So the only 2 kaiju we're missing in scale, in the 25 meter scale, is a Mothra larva, because the Mothra larvas you got with the Rodan and the Godzilla 64, those are not in scale. They're just a little bit smaller than they should be. They're close, but not close enough. And there's not a 25 centimeter 1968 Manda. Unless you're one of the few lucky ones that have one, and if you're watching this, you know who you are. And that's another story. That's only for the privileged. Bam! Alright? Alright, so that's your size comparison. Rick Boy, coming up! Woo. Alright, the Rick Boy. So what do we got for the Rick Boy feature exclusive here? We have the Fire Dragon and the Key Lock Flying Saucer. Now, it's pretty cool It's nice to say that I never had a key lock ship in my collection before, so this is the first. They're nice and detailed. You know, this almost looks like a Reese cup. Don't do it! Don't! Okay? This almost looks like a piece of sushi. Babe, where's the chopsticks at? But I'll tell you what's cool about this is that there's another flying saucer in there. So, this is in there. Because, remember, this was zooming around at the end of the movie. You thought, oh no, there's like a... I remember watching Destroy Monster for the first time. I was like, oh, it's a new monster. I'm like, pretty cool. Turned out it was just a ship. But both of these pieces are translucent, so you can see through them. You know, this is cool because you can see through that, and you can see the other ship inside. It's not centered. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but mine is off. Well, depending on which direction you look at it. You know, if you look at it going that way, it's off to the left. But not a big deal. It's pretty cool. I wish it came with a stand. That would have been nice. Not, you know, I could figure something out with that. I will have to admit, though, I really wish the Rick exclusive was something different. But what could have been different? Here's what I thought would have been great. Anybody have the Yuji Sakai appearance sets? Anybody? All right, for those that do, think back to the piece that's from Destroy All Monsters. Okay? Here it is. See the picture? Check it out. You got Godzilla 68 stepping through the key lock base at Mount Fuji. Okay? So this is pretty cool, right? So why couldn't the Rick Boy be an inch scale key lock base, half exposed from the mountainside, with a light up feature? Now that would have been a light up feature worth investing in. That would have been pretty damn cool. That would have been fresh! Okay? But, you know, a lot of collectors are like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't, you know, go for the Rick Boy because there's what is it? A Record set? I forget what set it is, but this has been previously released together in another set. Correct me in the comments. I don't remember what it is. I don't have it, but this is the only key lock saucer I have. So that's your Rick Boy. I really wish there was that exposed key lock base on Mount Fuji. That would have been pretty cool. That would have been really, really cool. So, but that's the Rick Boy. Sushi Reese cup. It's pretty crazy, right? Yeah, I'm crazy. This will show you again. Well, that's a figure. The wing's not coming off. Not that I'm crazy. We already knew that. All right. Final thoughts. Bam. Final thoughts. Okay, so we went through my dirt sheet. We went through all the hits and everything. We looked at the figure and all its beautiful glory and everything. Did I miss anything? We did the size comparison. We talked about the detail. We talked about the wings, the detail on the heads and necks, seams. Paint job's beautiful, I would say. All right, the only point of, needs to touch up is the mains. So with all these things together, somebody asked me on the X Plus group, what would I rate it at? And I was already thinking about that. And forget about Ami Ami. I'm not gonna include that situation on their shipping in rating this figure because that's Ami Ami's fault. If I was X Plus as a whole, as a business executive, I would call up Ami Ami and tell them, we're not doing business with you anymore. But that would be stupid because Ami Ami sells a lot of X Plus. But if I was X Plus, I would tell them, you people need to get your act together because Ami Ami ruined a percentage of figures. Now, aside from the box, now that's, we look at X Plus as a whole. They should have used styrofoam packaging. So I gotta give a hit on that. So because of the thin packaging, we had all these issues with breaking horns, heads, and necks and whatnot. So that's a big hit. That's not good, But it is what it is. It's here. It's fixed. He still looks great. So out of 10, I'm itching at I think an 8.5 out of 10. It's not perfect, but I think that's pretty good. I think it's great, to be honest with you. An 8 out of 5, because if you think about how hard it was for X Plus to produce this figure. I gotta hand it to them. I really do, because this is a hard kaiju to bring in final form. I've heard, Yuji Sakai resin model kits, and there's a couple other model kits I know of that I've seen in the past few days at the time of this recording of the release of the figure that look great, that, kit builders put together. And, oh man, I've seen beautiful figures out there of model kits. But it's the first time it's been done in vinyl form. Mass produced like this. How many people got this? A lot of us got it. Okay? So I do got to tip my hat to X Plus for bringing such a massive figure, let alone a massive kaiju, to this line that we've been asking for. Okay? We've been clamoring for this, and here it is in front of me. It's finally in front of me. If I think back to the night I found out that this was released, it was announced at the Wonderfest in the summer. It was August or something, just August, summer 2014. It was after G-Fest, and I was like, oh my god! I freaked out. I typed up an article on FreshVinylHQ.com, published that real quick just to get the information out. I tried to spread as fast as I can so everybody found out. But yeah, it's here. It's finally here. We have it in our hands. It has its issues, but there's plenty of figures that have their issues. People, let's not just wrap a noose or three of them around this and hang it out to dry. Okay, it's a beautiful figure. So it's 8.5. I think that's pretty good. I was thinking about a 9, but it was like, I don't know. I mean, you guys all saw my face during my unboxing. I wasn't happy. I was not happy. And no, I did not get this from Ami. I got mine from Mike Johnson. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Awesome. All right, so certified fresh. Yeah, he's fresh. He's got that smell. It smells beautiful. All right, so that's it. That is the review. If you stayed here and you stuck around, watch this whole thing, thank you for watching. I know it was long. It needed to be. I needed to get this information out there. This is the only way I could do it. I needed to get it all out. Make sure you check back on FreshVinylHQ.com if you haven't already for my written review. More pictures and whatnot. And remember, buy vinyl, fresh vinyl. Bam! Now where the heck am I going to put this thing? Ah.